with Chenoweth and Cohen, and I'm with Ashley from AMC Mortgage. Hi, Ashley.
Hi.
We are both Navy veterans. I forgot to introduce that, and we get a lot of questions about VA loans, and I get asked a lot of questions about them, and I wanted Ashley to debunk some of the most famous ones. Like the first one, do I have to be a combat veteran in order to qualify for a VA loan?
Great question. No, you do not. Veteran, active duty, guard, reserve, essentially 90 days active duty, wartime service, or 181 days peacetime service. For the guard or reserve, just 6 years service, surviving spouse in certain cases.
Nice.
So.
Yes. Okay. So are VA loans for first-time home buyers only?
Nope, they're not. Actually, with the VA home loan, you can use it multiple times. So say if you purchase a home with a VA home loan, you pay it off, then your entitlement gets restored right then. Also, let's say you have a VA home loan and you decide to refinance it into a conventional loan for whatever reason, then you restore your entitlement once again. You can go get a VA home loan while carrying that conventional loan. There's also the option where, let's say you're on one duty station and you're getting PCS to another duty station, and you have a VA home loan at that existing duty station. On the next duty station, you can carry another VA home loan. That goes also when you're off active duty. Of course, this is just a scenario we're talking about. They can have two at one time. So there are options available. There's quite a multitude of things you can do. So.
Okay. Do I have to have good credit to buy a VA loan?
No. So there is no minimum credit score for the VA, but they do want to consider all risk factors. So they are not going to look the other way when it comes to all kinds of things going on. Typically, they do want to see a 580 to 620 credit score. They are going to take all credit factors into understanding. So they are going to look over the full credit report, not just simply the score. They're going to read and see the story, what's going on. Is it essentially medical that happened, in unforeseen circumstance that happened in your life that you couldn't prevent, stuff like that. Divorce, that certain things happened. They're going to look at COVID, did it affect your job loss, and so forth, and they show you've reestablished credit. They're going to look at employment history, just all kinds of different risk factors that could help improve reestablishing everything to show the risk factors have gone down. They're also going to look, do you have reserves available to help make sure you're making the payments on time in the event you would run into some hard times going forward. So,
okay. Do you have, does VA have high interest rates?
No, actually, they are much more competitive. So the pricing on them is literally about a quarter to half a point less than FHA and conventional because they are guaranteed by the VA. So lenders are able to price them a little bit better.
Can I buy a luxury house with a VA loan?
Sure can. Only thing that happens with the VA home loan is your entitlement. So just so long as you have your entitlement at a zero down payment, if it's tied up like we were talking about the PCS situation, you may have a down payment requirement just depending on how much entitlement has been used on another property.
Excellent. And speaking of buying a VA loan, I can go in with zero down payment and no closing costs?
So that's the common myth. So you can finance 100% of the home so long as you have full entitlement, and that means the purchase price only.
Okay.
The closing costs, however, are not financed in. You can, however, if you have a great realtor, you can negotiate with the seller to pay closing costs up to 4% of the purchase price, which typically in most circumstances would cover all the closing costs.
That's wonderful. And yes, that can be negotiated, I guess, up to 4% from the seller. Okay.
Keep in mind, there are non-allowables. So if there are things like attorney fees and stuff for the lender and so forth, those cannot be passed on to the veteran and so forth. So there are a few things that the veteran cannot be charged for.
Okay. If someone assumes my VA loan and defaults, what happens?
Great question. Okay, so loan assumption. If you have someone coming to assume your loan, for example, we have those wonderful rates that happen around COVID, 2.99, and you've got a buyer coming in wants to assume your home loan and you have a VA home loan. You want to make sure that the liability is taken off of you as far as the financial part. So what you're going to have them do is go to the existing lender who has your loan, and you're going to have them get qualified fully to make sure that they can handle the loan, not a handshake where they're just going to simply make the payments for you. You want the financial responsibility taken off of you. So at that point, they are working directly with the lender to make the payments. Now, that is a circumstance where the person is not a veteran that's assuming your loan. I would recommend, if you're able, which is not always the case, having a veteran assume your loan, because then you can have their entitlement swapped out with your entitlement, so you are completely taken off of everything and you can move on and use your entitlement for future homes.
Okay, that's wonderful. So I'm going to throw one more question on you.
Okay.
AMC Mortgage for veterans. What do they do for veterans? And when they
Great question. We do not charge any lender origination fees. So that's our thank you for your service to our country.
And also with Chinwith and Cohen, our closing company, has a discount for veterans only. So yes. So with all that, thank you very much for your time. And
thank you for having me.
Yes, you're welcome. And we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right.